So what exactly is the problem with the camera?
That it watches me so closely. And when I know it's there, I react differently. There's just something different. Painting in itself is a secretive business. For someone less suited to public life, who's more of a quiet type, even a bit cowardly out in the big world, who doesn't speak up, but feels free when here and alone. I remember how I used to be terrified of showing anything, whether anyone noticed.
Notice what? That you let it all hang out?
It's a nice feeling, between being caught and being seen.
Being seen?
Yes, that the quality is seen and the mistakes perhaps overlooked. It's a complex thing, something you do in secret and then show in public. Show what might be hidden inside it.
Inside the pictures?
Yes.
I don't quite understand what you mean.
Neither do I. It's an aggressive trade, or occupation. Adorno once said it very nicely. You can't put pictures together. Paintings are always sworn enemies. And sworn enemy is the right word for it. It has something to do with destruction, elimination. Each painting is an assertion and won't tolerate anything next to it.
The picture's now in London, right?
Yes, I drew it again. But the second one is often... Where are the flowers? Too bad.
Not there.
The black and white one there. That's this one. A really tragic picture. Here you can see it better.
The albino figure.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Where is that thing?
Looking at the picture, you can't tell what it was modeled on. It looks like Cranach.
Here's the little boy. It's varnished now. Actually, the original is a school picture. Funnily enough, there are only 3 that are still interesting.
Which ones?
The distorted figurative ones.
Ah, like this one.
The flower, the little head. That's probably the best one.
Right, and the red one. It works.
Yes, it does.
It's good.
When I first approach a canvas, I can, in effect, smear anything I want on it. And then there comes a point when I have to take action and change or destroy it. It's not a sketch. It's not like a figurative painting with a draft. It develops on its own, not by itself, but without a plan, without an intention.
But if it's about not having a plan, that calls to mind automatism, the 20th century movement that proposed painting without a plan. But that's not the case.
No, that's not the case.
It's not the idea that without a plan, the subconscious will articulate itself. Or the other model, without a plan, you avoid compositionality. Like Ellsworth Kelly, composition by chance. So the question is, you paint without a plan, but you know exactly when it's right. So what's the correlation between planlessness and making the judgment, now it's a painting?
It becomes more difficult with each step. And I feel less and less free until I conclude there's nothing left to do. When, according to my standard, nothing more is wrong, then I stop. And that's it.
What's right and wrong? The wrong consciousness, materiality, the wrong process?
It just doesn't look good. Then it's wrong.
Can we dig further than just looking good or bad?
It's extremely difficult.
Difficult.
And in that regard, we're all equal. The producer and the consumer, artist and observer. They all have to have one quality. They have to be able to see if it's good or not, and to make that judgment.
Is good related to truth?
Sure.
There's a certain truth value
Yeah,
that a picture must express to be good.
exactly. I'd really love to paint over this one.
Go back?
Wait. No, bring the paint here.
That's easier.
A ladder.
I'm curious to see what happens over the next 2 weeks, whether they'll stay like this or get painted over.
Might they be painted over?
Sure, if they don't hold up. They have to sit here for a while. If they're still good in a few weeks, they've made it. If not, they'll be painted over.
It's got to go on the wall, whether or not it's painted over. That one really shocked me. I thought it was dreadful.
That?
Yeah. Strange. The feeling's fading.
You have to understand. You can't influence it.
What can't you influence?
You can't influence a painting by saying something about it. If I say, great, leave it like that, he's more likely to consider changing it.
Why?
Maybe because he was looking for a reason.
To change it?
When someone likes it too much, he has a reason to destroy it. Of course. At least I think so.
The publication Director's Choice from the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston wants to include one of your abstract paintings. Studio Richter, Elle speaking. Oh, Mrs. Richter, can your husband call back? Thanks. Your wife.
It's okay, huh?
You can have this too. It's not until October, though. We have the correspondence about the planned exhibition if you're interested.
That's the downside.
Which? The white one?
Yeah, the white one. The risk is greater that I'll make that one white too.
All the more reason to put it away. Right now, it benefits from being in the middle of all this whiteness.
All the whiteness?
Everything's white. Like covered in snow.
It's straightforward. No lines. None of that.
Exactly. Just those that happen to be there.
Ja.
Mr. Richter, you once called painting a moral act. What did you mean by that?
That painting isn't just a question of aesthetics, of painting pretty pictures, which perhaps isn't very difficult. That's all I meant.
Do you mean the artist's personal morality and honesty toward his work? Or do you mean social morality, an artist's role in society?
Both. The private, the subjective, that's where it starts. But you're not alone. You're automatically part of society.
Where did all these photos come from?
I've been dragging them around forever. Stored in boxes, but all mixed together. Now I want to organize them. Decide what to throw away, date them, put them into a context. I was so small. I must have been around 4 years old. 5? 4? I don't know. You get so used to photos, you think you know the guy, but it's not true. You know the world of the photos, but not the world in which they were taken. I can't remember it. The photos create the world, but I don't know what happens after the picture is taken. I don't even know where it was taken. I don't know this woman. It's my mother, which I know because of the picture, but not because I can remember her in that moment. What would that be? 2 years old? Ah, that explains the suit. It's my sister's christening. It's an incredible invasion. In the past, you didn't know anything in the time before photography.
I don't understand. What kind of invasion?
Into our knowledge, in our consciousness, that we have photos and can document every little step. I should just throw them away.
But could you part with them?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Whether I can, whether it might be better to forget.
How did your career begin?
It grew slowly. First, I simply enjoyed doing it. I never imagined it could be a profession. So we looked for something that seemed more like a solid profession, something in a printing shop. My mother took me there to see if I could get an apprenticeship. It was noisy, and it stank, and so I said, no, I don't want to do that. When you see the guys at the presses, you see how awful it is. I don't remember where else we went. And then things slowly started to develop.
Did your mother want you to have a job, a position?
Yes, but something that suited me. You need a profession, after all. I wanted to become a doctor, but that didn't work out. So I thought I'd give dental technician a try. That was dreadful. I'll never forget going around to all the different firms in Zittau. Being confronted with reality. It's horrifying.
Good. Die Zähne.
So pleased.
Yeah.
Delighted. Marvelous.
Good. Oh my God. Touching. Whole family.
I think we will now do the words. I think we should do the words, and then we've done that, if that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a moment at which we can celebrate the work and the career of Gerhard Richter. We can, if you like, examine his paintings over many decades. Gerhard Richter has been forging a kind of painting in which all of us can be led by him to examine, as he puts it, appearances. He's led us to think about the nature of the world, the nature of the look of things, and in this exhibition, the manner and ways of people. Private, public, personal. Gerhard, thank you very much for your support. Thank you for creating Gerhard Richter portraits. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's this?
In the academy. This is our teacher, Heinz Lohmer. His paintings weren't so great. And I was in his class. But he wasn't a leader. There were other teachers who were like gods. Just like later for the students who went to Beuys. They needed a god. I could never stand that. That's why he was great, a down-to-earth Rhinelander.
But later you said you have to and want to believe.
Yes, and we do, every day. Preferably with wariness and skepticism. I'll never forget one fellow student at the academy. He painted flowers. He sat there at the easel, whistling and enjoying himself. And I thought, hey, stay critical, pal. You're just deceiving yourself, talking yourself into liking it. A bit neurotic, really.
How can you explain your maturity at such a young age?
No idea.
There must have been a kind of standard.
You can always strive for it, that so-called standard.
Seeing the photographs, I thought of your mother. Didn't she set pretty high standards for herself?
Well, she told it well. It makes a nice little story. I grew up reading Nietzsche and Goethe, but that wasn't really... I didn't always believe her.
You didn't believe her?
No.
As a child, you want to...
You don't want to believe them. You have to distrust your parents, and you can see through them pretty well.
You left Dresden and what was then East Germany in 1961. Did you ever see your parents again?
No, never. I was a recognized refugee. An official political refugee. And it wasn't possible. I couldn't get permission or authorization to travel to the East. Not until 1987, when I had an exhibition there. With the ambassador. Suddenly everything was possible. But they were all dead by then.
Did you realize in the early 60s you'd never see them again?
No, absolutely not. You think things will change, that it won't stay like that. You don't think people will grow old and die. When I left them, they were relatively young, 50 or even younger. You think they'll always stay that way. Like bodies preserved in glaciers, found after 50 years. Like the stories you hear.
Naja.
That's the basis for green. The plan is 4 green ones. That's why there's so much red. Look away. Don't look at them for a day. And from above, as a reminder, wonderful.
Hi. Hello.
How did it go? You arrived?
Full of fear, sore muscles, and painkillers. It was terrible. It makes a big difference when the paintings are hanging there. It's like a performance, like an opera you've written on paper, on the studio wall, in the dirt, and then suddenly it's there. It was really good. Americans are so enthusiastic. They come from all over, and they're not afraid to say what they think. Not in the least. At my first exhibition in New York, that was over 30 years ago, at Onash, 1972, long time ago, I was showing photorealistic and gray monochrome paintings, and 2 young artists came over and said,
Great job. But the gray ones, you know what it is? Bullshit.
I was baffled. Because we're always so reserved. The most we ever say is, interesting exhibition, or, oh, not so bad.